But among many of the ethnic minority groups are becoming Christian at a very fast rate. And I can't, this has been one of the biggest puzzles for me, trying to understand what this means, why this would be the case. I wrote an essay in the Here and Now about how we are kind of old Christians. Most of us were raised in the faith, and our parents were raised in the faith, and so, it wasn't since the, first centuries, or maybe when, the Christians came to England or whatever, that our families became Christians. So we don't know what it is to adopt this as a new faith. I've been doing quite a bit I'm taking a course in American religious history at the seminary, and I'm talking a lot about the Great Awakenings in the United States. There were two great revivals in the 18th century and the 19th century, where at the colonial times only about 10% of people went to church. But these Great Awakenings, which were great revival meetings, were very influential, and people really gave their life to Christ, and it made a big difference. It really was what made this country as pious as it is, as church-going as it is. And I think that was a little bit more of what's going on for these folks now, that there may be something about the nature of our faith which has an interior piece to it about the validity and importance of each individual. And it may be having to do with the incredible rate of social change that people are experiencing now. Also, if you have a predominantly animist or nature-based religion, there's so much change going on. There are no more tigers. I guess there are a few tigers, but very few. But these were hunting and gathering societies that used to, be really communing with nature. Well, it's all getting kind of fenced up now, and they are required to be staying in one place, so they're becoming agricultural. There's just all kinds of changes that are going on. And here's all this stuff, you've heard all this stuff about China growing, and all this industry coming in, and all of this change, all this transportation, there are roads being built, trains being built. It's just so much is going on that the question it may be, where do I fit in this? What does it mean for me? And there is a core to our faith which recognizes the validity of every individual, and the interior life of not requiring of any religious, particularly Protestantism. It's not Catholicism that's growing, it's Protestantism. And it doesn't require any priest or any church or any outward observance. It is an inward call, and there can be direct communication between God and oneself. So that's just some of my preliminary reflections about why this is going on. And I don't have the answers to this one at all. So I just share with you. This is the biggest quandary that I came back with, because I don't have the language barriers are so great. You can't sit down and talk about it too much.
So when did this start? When did the transformation of many, at least of these ethnic minority Chinese, becoming Protestants?
Well, there were, it was late 19th century. I'll show you. I have some pictures of a graveyard that has been lovingly tended by the local people, the church there, of Western missionaries that died I believe in the 1920s. And then with the revolution and the Cultural Revolution, all that kind of stuff kind of died out. But the church sort of stayed in there, and they maintained the graveyard all this time and continue to do so. And so they recognized these people as the ones who had planted the seeds. So that's within the memory. But it's really been in recent years. When the opening took place, when religion was really freed up in 1978, it was around that time that I had first traveled in this region, in the Thai area, and there weren't any people that were Christian that we ran into. So it's been in recent years that it has got. I think it has to do with with the increase, the massive industrialization in recent years. But that's just a theory. I mean, one of it may just be the action of the Holy Spirit. I can't explain all the reasons for that.
And the internet, these are fairly isolated parts of the world in a mountainous region, and so transportation opens things up. But
transportation opens things up, and cell phones open
computers
things
and
up.
cell phones, yeah.
Everybody's got a cell phone.
Yeah.
And in one of the pictures I'll show you, one of the villages that we went to was a village that had never had a Westerner visit it before. And in this, it was really interesting. There's a beautiful girl, you'll see her picture, and she had been in Burma. She'd been visiting people in Burma, because again, those are relatives over there. So they'd been to go see their friends over in Mankato. And while she was there in Burma, she had learned a new dance, a Christian dance, and with a little cassette, And so she came back with the cassette and the dance, and while we were there, she was teaching the other young people how to do the dance, with the what she learned there, but using the technology of the boombox, the battery-powered boombox, to share that. So that was going back and forth between that. So yeah, stuff's out there. People can travel in ways that they never could travel before.
And is there a missionary presence?
No.
No.
These are all, what you went to are all state authorized places, right? Churches.
Yeah, the ethnic minorities are, have a lot more hands off than the Han Chinese do. So yeah, they're not. This wasn't, and nowhere did we go that was under the table. This was all official. We traveled with the head of the official church in Yunnan, Reverend Yu. Now I have a picture of him. He's a wonderful man. He is himself an ethnic minority. He is Lisu. And he's also a member of the Chinese Consultative Council, which is kind of like their House of Representatives. He represents the Lisu people to the Chinese government. And we traveled with members of the Religious Affairs Bureau of the government, traveled with us. And Reverend Yu's attitude is, you're welcome. Anybody's welcome. He doesn't, he's obviously a government-approved person, but I believe his faith is very genuine, and he just didn't, there's nothing to hide, please. In fact, the government is going to stipulate Christianity as the official religion of the Lisu people, and Mr. Woot said that he thought that the government is beginning to look very kindly upon this, because the particular branch, the kinds of faith that was coming up here, I've mentioned this before, is you give up smoking and drinking. And that has had a very positive economic effect upon villages. Because if you have a very, it's a trading-based economy, you don't have much cash. If you're going to spend money on beer, that's actually cash going out of the village. And if you keep it within the village, you can, in fact, I tried to show some pictures of some villages that are not Christian, and they're a bit more run down. Now, we were visiting dignitaries, so it could be that we're just being shown the nice stuff. But I did have a sense that it makes sense that a little bit, that money, even if it's a few dollars, goes out. If you don't have a cash economy, that's a lot of money. And so we were shown things like new latrines that they were very proud of, new roads, and new water systems. When I visited in the north of Thailand, there were villages that had no water system. You had to bring I didn't put it in the slideshow, but there's one that we saw a mule had come down and had this sort of saddle with these braces on it like this. And in it, they filled up these big tanks of water and put it on the thing, and then the mule would go up to the mountain, and that's how they got their water up there. But a lot of the villages now have actual irrigation, have water that's piped up to the top. In the 1970s, when I visited these villages, they did not have water. And there was one village I visited that they only washed once a year, which made sense in light of having no water.